I'm Nikita. I'd like you to think back. When was the first time that you heard the word stress? I mean, how old were you? Were you an adult? Were you a teenager? Or were you a child? Today, unfortunately, most children from as young as 3 years old know what the word stress means because they hear it on almost a daily basis. Stress is the number one health problem in the world. In fact, some go as far as saying it's an epidemic. Stress management tools include meditation, mindfulness, breath work, yoga, walking in nature, journaling, to name a few. But why are these tools therefore not enough? And why are we still in a situation where we have a stress epidemic? I think I know the answer. Stress is caused when the body is in a state of discomfort or dis-ease. That's where the word disease comes from. So discomfort or dis-ease implies that there's something out of sync within the body. So when this happens, we tend to go to the doctor and seek medical intervention. But what do we do when medics tell us that there's nothing wrong with us, that we're fine, that our tests are normal, but we know that we don't feel right? That's when we start thinking outside of the box. So we've addressed the physical symptoms, and then we look at the mental health symptoms. We might be feeling frustration. We might be getting agitated. We might have low tolerance levels. We might have anger. So if there's physical problems, such as not being able to sleep or having unexplained physical health symptoms, we're now presented with mental health symptoms and then possibly emotional health symptoms as well. This puts the body in a state of disconnection, and we start to feel as though we're no longer in control. Our body and our mind is no longer working together, and therefore we don't feel congruent. Again, I think I know the answer. I believe that what we're really looking for as a society is not happiness. We think that happiness is the answer to all our problems. That if only I had this, I would be happy. If only I had that, I would be happier. Well, in actual fact, I don't think we're looking for happiness. I think we're looking for purpose. Purpose means having a reason to live, having a reason that lights you up every single day. Now, that purpose does not have to be work. It can be spending time with your grandchildren. It can be doing the gardening. It can be your favourite hobby or meeting your friends at the social club and playing cards. It can be anything you want it to be. Research shows us that patients with dementia, when they have visitors or when they are engaged in activities, they're more likely to alleviate their symptoms and be more in control. Now, that's just one example. Imagine if each one of us had a sense of purpose. What would happen to our physical, mental, and emotional health symptoms? You probably think I'm being very simplistic. How can they just go away, just like that? Well, that's what I've experienced in my own life. Although in my case, my illness was not a mysterious one. My symptoms came out of the blue, unexplained, and I was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune condition. And when I say rare, I mean, statistically, not many people globally have got this condition. And when I was faced with this at a young age, it shook my life and it made me reassess who I am and, most importantly, what I am here to do. And those are the two questions that I now ask the people that I work with. Who are you and why are you here on earth? Now, those two questions can either sound very daunting or sound very exciting. It just depends which way you look at them. To me, they were daunting when I was first asking myself them. However, now I'm decades on in my own journey and they're very exciting to me. I love the prospect of finding your identity, finding out who you are and why you're here on earth. So you might be wondering, well, isn't that just philosophy? Yes, it is. It's philosophy with spirituality. Most importantly, with practicality. What we're looking for is practical tools to be able to tap into who we are on a soul level. And that is exactly what I offer people. I mentioned at the beginning I'm Nikita, and I represent Journey with Nikita, where I guide people on a journey towards understanding themselves, knowing who they are, and most importantly, knowing who they're meant to be. I believe that each one of us has within us a lower self and a higher self. The lower self operates from fear, from lack, from negativity, from doubt, and the higher self knows exactly who they are and why they're here. So it's almost like a bridge that we have to cross, if, of course, we choose to. The majority of people are operating from the lower self, and that's why we have the problems that I mentioned earlier. Again, you may think I sound very simplistic, but in my experience, when I crossed over to living from my higher self on a regular basis, I found I wasn't able to cure myself. However, I found that my symptoms were under control. So I compared myself with other people that have got my condition, and I noticed that there's a significant difference in the way that I manage my chronic condition and the way that they manage theirs. And what can we put this down to? Well, I can't prove this, but of course, my theory is that having a sense of purpose that lights you up every single day gives you a reason to live, gives you hope, and that gives you optimism. That then in turn shifts the neural pathways in the brain and enables you to perceive life differently. So when you perceive life differently, you start operating from a different frequency. Remember, we are all energy. Everything is made up of energy. So when I operate from a higher frequency, I'm therefore more in control of my body and my mind. Remember, I said earlier, some of us feel a disconnection between our body and mind. Our body is in one place, but our mind is wandering here and there. We feel like we've lost control. I know, because I felt that. But I also know what it's like to be on the other side of the bridge. Will you let me guide you to get to the other side of your bridge? I won't hold your hand. I will walk in front of you, or in some cases, walk side by side. I'm passionate about guiding people who are ready for the next stage of their life. If you're going through a period of transition, and if you feel as though you are destined for more, then that's your higher self calling you. Don't ignore it, because if you ignore it, this time next year, you'll be watching this video again. If you're ready to work with me, reach out. I look forward to supporting you. Namaste.